All right, welcome to today's episode, the last session of the program, The Law of the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. Well, today is the last day for the week where we get to run the program, the only program that bridges the gap between the government and the people here on Spectrum Television. Of course, here we get to tell you about government policies, how it affects the people, and of course, what the people feel should be changed about the policies, and the remarks gets back to the government as well. My name is Rachel David White. So today we'll take a look at, of course, everything that has been happening, threatening recently in politics. Of course, we've seen court cases, a whole lot of those stuff. We've been talking about it on this program, so we'll just take a look at another angle on today's program. Well, we'll go on a short break. When we come right back, we'll bring our guests to you, and then we'll start the program proper. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigeria, from issues on politics,
hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
Security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyeken every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by cross them. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Ibro.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Legally Speaking.
All right, welcome back. It's still the program, The Law of the People and Governance in Spectrum Television. All right, so today I told you we'll be taking a look at politics in another dimension. Well, we've had the elections and it's just been concluded, although we still have cases in court, the Election Petition Tribunal, which is ongoing. The question one should be asking is about the 2023 polls. Did elections divide Nigerians further? That's a big question we're asking today. I mean, Nigerians are in the position to answer that question. How do you feel the just concluded elections has left Nigeria? Do you think those elections have divided Nigerians further, or do you think that it has put things in proper places? So that is what we seek to address today. And we have on standby our guest all the way from Ebonyi State who is joining us via call, and he will be x-raying this particular topic today. So feel free to send us WhatsApp messages or text messages, and of course we will address your contributions as the show goes on. So welcome and good evening to the program, Dr. Charles Odogu.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, so
thank you for having
okay, I'm sorry to cut you. Let me ask, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
How are you doing too?
I'm fine. How are you doing politically? Of course, in Nigeria today, one should be asking fellow Nigerians, how are you faring politically?
I would say we are fine in general. We are hoping for the best.
Of course, we always get to hope for the best. All right, so let's get to the main, of course, topic for the day. Elections have come and gone, and I always say, like, you know, when war takes place, there is always something the war does to the people. It either leaves the people with a positive change or a negative change. It either creates a scar that is meant to, you know, be there for good, or gets to disrupt the people, and it takes a longer time to heal. Recent post-elections concerns have surrounded rumors, you know, around plans to stage an interim government after the threats were made public by the DSS, which you are aware of. Do you feel that these threats are real?
Well, I would say it's unfortunate that in Nigeria we Nigerians would rather prefer Hausa, Igbo, and but then we're hoping that someday get to a point where we'll have Nigerians in Nigeria, where everyone, no matter the tribe or the region you're coming from, will see him or herself as Nigerian, and then see other around us.
Hello, doctor.
Yes.
Okay, so your call is breaking. I don't know if it's from your end or from our end, so we'll just try to drop the call and then reach out to you again. I think you should just move a little bit away from your location. I don't know. I think it's from your end, actually. So we're going to cut the call and try to call you back again so we can have a clear connection.
All right. All right.
Okay. All right, so let's see if we can try to put that call back across to our guests and see if we're going to have a clear connection, because it's breaking and then we can't really have a good flow of the conversation. Well, there are, you know, recent events that have taken place ever since the just concluded elections. We've seen fights, we've seen protests, we've seen, you know, large plots of interim government and a whole lot of these issues. Do you think that the just concluded elections may have divided Nigerians the more? That's the question. Of course, we saw what happened in Lagos State, where we had the Yorubas and the Igbos fighting against themselves. Well, one would be asking that same question I'm asking right now. So it's in our place to x-ray and find out what the elections has done to Nigerians. All right, welcome back, Dr. Charles.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're having a clearer conversation right now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you perfectly well.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you say?
I would say the process is so, and the election have a great extent divided Nigeria, right?
Mm.
But it people still have high hopes that things are going to get. People are still looking at the judiciary to, be able to make landmark. People are still hoping that with people are hoping they can be seen as the challenge is that nobody wants to achieve Nigerian. Igbo and like or any other tribes in the we're to get.
Hello, doctor. Hello. Okay, so we're still finding it very hard to hear him. I don't know if it's clearer out there, but I think the network is really bad for today. So we'll still try to reconnect him back. So we'll work on that. Okay. Okay, I don't know. I think it's from my end anyway, if it's not from your end, because it's really bad. So I can't hear you. You're breaking badly. So just try to reconnect back to you if you can hear us. All right, so coming back to the people, feel free to send us a comment, a WhatsApp message, or of course a text message. Let's get to find out how you feel. Well, like I said, that election came as a war that has left some scars in the minds and the lives of people. Of course, yeah, real scars, because we had some lives that are lost, some damaged properties. Of course, it came alongside the cash crunch, it came alongside the fuel scarcity, it came alongside so many things, and it left protests behind, it left I would say hatred behind, it left some fights behind, it left court cases behind. So would you say that to some extent the elections may have divided Nigerians the more? It even left I would say a fight against ethnicity behind the Yorubas in Lagos and the Igbos in Lagos, where the Igbos feel that Lagos is a no man's land and the Yorubas feel that Lagos belongs to them. So do you think that to some extent this may have divided Nigerians the more or put them together? All right, let's see if we are able to reconnect back to our guests. Good evening, doctor. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I hope it becomes perfect this time. Well, doctor, some have said it wasn't necessary for the DSS to come public with the revelation about the interim government and, just go after the alleged plotters. So I take that again, okay? Some people felt it wasn't necessary for them to have come public. So they felt it would have been necessary or better if they had gone, just go after the alleged plotters and arrest them. Is this the right line of thought, or what do you think differently?
Yeah, I share the same view. I feel that it was rather unnecessary coming on the social media to announce that some individuals are plotting. I mean, what is the public doing with that information? Since the information has gotten to them as the state security service, it's on them to take actions. And coming to the media to announce it is one of those. Is not one of those actions. They should have like have rightly gone out to those persons who they suspect are plotting this interim government and probably arrested them. And what the public will be hearing will be that so and so person is arrested for plot to instate an inter-government.
Mm.
So I share the same view with the people who had said for them to come to the media, to make such information public.
Okay. So, well, let's get back to the question I still asked. If the just concluded elections may have divided Nigerians the more, or put them together, because most of these conversations have been linked to the just concluded elections, with the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido, saying that Nigerians are more divided than ever. How polarized did the elections turn Nigeria?
Well, I would say that Nigeria has been divided, to a very great extent, and we're hoping that this election, this 2023, will give us a perspective of building a united Nigeria. Because when you say that Nigeria is united, or when you hear people shout one up and down, you realize that indeed, because if Nigeria was united, there will be no point talking about one Nigeria every now and then. I mean, you will never hear one from one Cameroon, one
One
Ghana,
UK.
on one UK and stuff like that. So we have to tell us, and until we do that, we continue to deceive ourselves. Nigeria is united. Then to the question whether this election divided Nigeria further, I would say yes, because I mean, during the campaign period, it was a very strong battle to keep the political players on the path of each campaign. They kept pushing it towards ethnicity, they kept pushing it towards religion, pushing it.
Okay, so I think we lost that connection, and we are trying to reconnect back because, of course, he's trying to say something very important there. Hello, doctor. Have you been able to join us back? Okay, so just see if we can reconnect him back. He's talking about hope. Of course, one may be asking, the elections have been concluded. What hope is he talking about? Should the judiciary come out to declare that indeed the winner of the just concluded election is the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Would Nigeria become one again, or should they come back to say that, oh, they found out that maybe INEC may have miscounted, that the Labour parties is the winner, or the PDP's Atiku Abubakar is the winner? Would that make Nigeria one, or would that end the fight? Don't you think that this may just pour up something else? So what hope is he really talking about? So we'll find out this when he comes back online. Meanwhile, just stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian, from issues on politics,
Hello, Nigeria. I remain committed.
security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abuse. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this
Lord.
an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Legally Speaking.
All right, welcome back to the program, The Law of the People and Governance. So right now we're back on the conversation talking about the just concluded elections and how far it has left Nigerians. Is it in a positive or a negative state? That's the question we're asking today. And we're being joined by Dr. Charles Odogu. He's a political analyst and strategist all the way from Ebonyi State. He's taking a look at, I would say critically, at, of course, the state of Nigeria right now. Well, Doctor, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I hope we don't get to miss you again.
Break in the connection.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're still going back to the question you were trying to talk, because you said something and I have a question to ask you after. We talked about the conversations that have been linked to the just concluded elections, right?
Yes.
And of course, the assertion by the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido, who says that Nigerians are more divided than ever.
Yes.
And then you had agreed that indeed Nigerians have been divided more than ever, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you need to give us your reasons for saying so. And then you also talked about hope. So let's start from your reasons.
Okay, you could see a lot of the players, political players on the side of the ruling party, saying that the healing should start. The healing should start. Elections are over. Healing should start, which implies that they intentionally inflicted the wounds on their perceived opposition. So, in order to win an election, now they feel they've won the election, and they are coming back to say the healing process, the healing should start. Elections are over.
So doctor, if you want to put it in the political language, you said they successfully rigged the elections in order to inflict injury on the opposition, right?
Beyond rigging the election, they successfully divided the country. They successfully divided the country further in terms of ethnicity and religion. They exploited these weaknesses to ensure that they maintain their strength in certain areas, even before they got to the point of rigging the figures from the election. So what I'm saying is that indeed you can agree with me that the country has been further divided. And even those in power are affirming that by trying to initiate what they call a healing process, because they knew exactly what they did. Right? A lot of political players did not care about what becomes of Nigeria after the election. All they wanted was to win. And they kept on exploiting these weaknesses in the Nigerian society today, which includes the the the, the aspect of religion and tribalism, which is still very much high among us. You understand? So I would say that the country, as it stands now, is more divided than ever. And serious measures, if truly we love this country, should be put in place. And one of those measures should be looking ourselves in the face and telling ourselves the truth. We've lied to ourselves a lot. We've lied to ourselves for so long. And I think it's time for us to come together and look at how we can be more tolerant, how we can begin to see every Nigerian as a Nigerian. You know, we should begin to talk about those things that will unite us more often than we talk about those things that divide us. Why would somebody be saying that this is my land, leave my land? Why would people be driving the cause that a certain people should leave a certain part of Nigeria? What does that mean? Are we still Nigerians? Why wouldn't somebody enjoy the same rights and privileges as a Nigerian in Ebonyi State as they will enjoy in Lagos State or Kano State? Why would it be that somebody who is a Nigerian suddenly turns to an Igbo man when he gets to Lagos? Does he cease to be a Nigerian because he's an Igbo man? I mean, we are talking about Federal Republic of Nigeria. The rights and privileges of citizens should be equal no matter the part of Nigeria you find yourself. But the reality is just an exact opposite. Why is it so? And then some persons will go on air and say Nigeria is united, that you shouldn't mind the opposition. The opposition are not enemies of the country per se. The opposition are people who feel that what is currently obtainable in Nigeria should not continue. The people they call opposition are those who feel that Nigerians have suffered a lot and to be given a glimpse of hope. And one thing about leadership is that you do not necessarily need to lord over everybody. You just have to inspire hope. You just have to inspire hope in the people, and they will naturally follow. Every human being yearns for leadership, for good leadership. And when you are able to show your an entity that represents good leadership, people will naturally follow you. You begin to lord things over people when you are not the chosen one. When you decided to impose yourself on the people, it's going to be a very tough task for you, because the work of building is way, 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 way higher than the work of destruction. Those who have successfully divided Nigeria with their words, with their tweets, and their comments, in public address, they would do more than 100 times the work they did dividing Nigeria. They would do more than 100 times that to reunite Nigeria. And that is what so many of them fail to understand. that you can win an election and governance will become very difficult for you. Like Peter B has stated some time ago, that the process is very important. If you must become His Excellency, the process,
Has to be an excellent process.
yeah, it has to be an excellent process. Because that is the only way you gain the moral trust, the moral, authority to lead the people.
Okay, Doctor, you've talked about hope. Okay, I may not be able to put it according to your words, but then you said that, well, the elections may have divided Nigerians to a certain level, but then that there is hope that 2023 indeed is going to be a great year politically for Nigerians. Can you hear me?
Sorry, it's disconnected.
Okay, so I'll put it again.
Go through that again.
Yes, you talked about hope, right? Now,
Yes.
I may not be able to put it in your words, but then you said there is hope in the 2023 elections that, of course, this is going to be one year that is going to be good for Nigerians politically. I'm just interpreting your words of hope. Now, talking about hope when the elections are already over and we've seen the result already, yes, there is election petition tribunal, and then the judiciary arm of government is the arm of government that so many people believe that have been compromised, just like INEC, who was supposed to be, I didn't want to say pretended to be, who was supposed to be an independent body, got compromised according to the allegations that people have leveled against them. Now, the judiciary arm of government is one arm of government that looks like is not just compromised, but at the apex, at the Supreme Court level, okay? And then this is where the final judgment comes from. So, talking about hope, not also forgetting that the people who won the elections, I'm talking about APC, who are now calling for healing process to begin, right, had already said, if you are not comfortable with the results that have been issued out by INEC, then go to court. Now, so many people have taken this to mean that, oh, they are saying that because they have got the court's heart in their palms. So, talking about hope now, do you still feel that there is hope, that things may turn out? Now, that's number one. Number two, what are the chances that the courts, the election petition tribunal would come up to say at the end of the whole trial would say, oh, we've seen that there were some errors while counting and collating results. We feel that PDP, Atiku Abubakar is the winner, or Labour Party's Peter Obi is the winner. What are those chances? Because I keep saying Nigerian election is highly, not just the elections, everything about Nigeria is a bit predictable to a greater extent. So we are already predicting that, oh, yes, the courts are going to sit, but Tinubu is still going to be declared as the president-elect of Nigeria.
Well, we just have to remain hopeful until the D-Day. You understand? Because when I was talking about hope on the 2023 election, I was referring to how much the INEC raised the hope and the trust of Nigerians by telling Nigerians that the process of the 2023 general election will be best ever witnessed. They assured Nigerians that beavers will be used to transmit results direct from the polling unit to the collation center. And right before our eyes, the INEC failed woefully on that. And not just that they failed woefully, they began to express some attitude that you could clearly see that they've been compromised from the top. Where you see collations going on without any effort to verify the authenticity of the figures that have been pronounced at the collation center. And at the end of the day, someone was declared without considerations to whether this results truly reflects what happened at the polling units. And that was just the point that Nigerians again had to give up. You saw the expression of some Nigerians, people began to destroy their voters' cards, people began to tear their green passports and all of that. And this is yet again another where we are hoping that the judiciary would indeed maintain its status as of the common man. But if at the end of the day the judiciary does otherwise, then you can begin to talk about hopelessness. I want everyone to remain optimistic. As an individual, I'm a very optimistic person, and I believe that the best will come. I believe that the outcome of the tribunal and the judicial processes that will follow afterwards will be in the favor of Nigeria. A lot of people feel this is about Peter Obi or the candidate of the PDP. It's not about any individual. It's about the future of the country, right? So I would not agree with the line of thought that the judiciary has been compromised until
they prove otherwise.
They get to the end of this case and they do otherwise.
Okay.
Just the way I know how I encourage my friends and the people around me to get their voters card. So many of them said the INEC has been compromised and there was no need getting their voters card. I said no. With this new development, with the Electoral Act, with the BPAS, with this, with that INEC will deliver. I encourage to get their voters card, which they did, up until the point where clearly INEC demonstrated that they've been compromised. And so many of them got back to me and said, we told you, this is Nigeria. Right? But we cannot continue like this. We'll continue to do our best. Let's see that those agents who have sworn to keep the country perpetually in bondage will continue doing what they're doing. But we are believing that by the grace of God, that there will be a turnaround, a turning point someday. There will be a turning point someday where the right thing will be done against the wishes of the true enemies of Nigeria. Because sometimes the real enemy of a country is that person who does not want the people to elect them, lead them.
Okay.
A lot of persons were talking about treason and all of that. And I said that the number one treason should be anything that will lead to mutilation or manipulation of our electoral process.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, talking about treason, does calling for adherence to constitutional provisions as far as the elections were concerned amount to treason?
Not in any way. Not in any way. The person is simply calling for the right thing to be done, for the constitutional provisions to be followed. Right? I am saying that the number one act of treason should be anything that interfered or that led to the manipulation of the election result. We should be true to ourselves, for crying out loud. Things cannot continue like this. Let us tell ourselves the truth. Let's call a spade a spade. You cannot say that someone who has come out to say that people should calm down and allow the judiciary, the law take its course. You cannot come and begin to say that that person is committing treason, while those who are glaringly, undermine the provisions of the Electoral Act are moving around. This is not acceptable.
Okay, Doctor, just two more questions before we call it a day on the program. Do you envisage bigger problems for the incoming administration in uniting the divisive factions in Nigeria?
obviously, I made it as a point in my previous responses to the questions you asked, that it's easier to divide a country. You can simply divide a country by your tweet, but it's 100 times more difficult to reunite the country. If things continue this way, I can assure you that it's going to be a very difficult task for the incoming to reunite the country. We must take a very strong measure, look back into the that divided us, and consciously make genuine efforts to put those things aside. We must begin to think of how to call ourselves Nigerians. People, Yoruba and Hausa and all of that should be put aside. Begin to preach nationhood. Let's begin to preach oneness in the country. Let's begin to think in a manner that demonstrates that we see ourselves as Nigerians. I mean, it's going to be a very tough task. If justice is not done, if justice is not being done, it's going to be a very difficult task to unite this country.
Okay, now we found ourselves in this position already. We found ourselves at this point, a point where Nigeria has gotten to, I would say, confused states at the point, because we're having even inter-party, crisis here and there. Of course, we've seen expulsions, we've seen a whole lot of things happening within parties amongst themselves. Now, what do you think at this point that we are could be done right? Let's say we need to take a U-turn to the right path. What do you think could be done differently?
All right. One of the things that has been lacking in the processes in Nigeria is transparency. And there's nothing that builds trust and unity like transparency. Like the transmission of election results through the BVAS to the IRF was only going to achieve one thing, and that was transparency.
But talking about that, right? The Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has given reasons why the Independent National Electoral Commission says purposely refused to transmit the presidential election results.
Yeah, they 1,001 reasons, without mentioning that they also wanted to ensure that there is no transparency in the collation of the results. Because as a matter of fact, that IREF would have made it very clear that I can be here and know exactly the score at polling unit 006 in any of the local governments in the state. But that was not done. I see figures coming from that place. And that is, people need to see that everyone is transparent about the process to be comfortable with whatever result it will produce. I'm telling you that in that was used the way INEC promised Nigerians it would be used, nobody would have gone to court. The result would have been exactly the reflection of the will of the people. But you claim that the result that was brought to you was the accurate result without trying to verify, without trying to take reference from any source. You just collected figures and announced. Arbitrary figures and announced and declared the winner. Those are the key issues. Like now, what I feel that when done would help in uniting Nigeria still remains transparency. Someone on the court, let the judiciary maintain a high level of transparency. Let Nigerians then carry on along as to how they were at their judgment. so that everybody will understand why this has to be that. And that would, lay a very good to begin the healing process. But if they go again, like I said, they will have 1,001 reasons to do the wrong thing. If they go again and do something similar to what the INEC did, then jump into the end of the whole thing and coming to announce a verdict that does not reflect the will of the people, then you should expect more division. You should expect worse things that we have seen now.
Do you think the court owes the people should I say the
transparency?
No, not the transparency. Do you think the court needs to announce the verdict according to the will of the people, or what is right? And then just one last question before we round off. It happens that if it ever happens that Nigeria be divided, what will be your position?
If I didn't get that question. Sorry.
Okay, the first thing I asked is, do you think that the court owes Nigeria a justice or a verdict according to the will of the people, or according to maybe what is right, okay, what they feel is right for the people? And also, do you think, the second one I asked, I said if it happens that Nigeria ever has to be divided, what will be your position? We'll just have 2 minutes before we round up the show.
Okay, truly the court owes the people a verdict that reflects the will of the people. Because the will of the people certainly is the right thing to be done. And I'm sure that if they take the right procedure and do the right, insisting that the right thing should be done, their verdict eventually will be that reflects the will of the people. That is one. Then secondly, you said if Nigeria eventually is divided, what will be my position? Well, the truth is that we have to really come together and be sincere to ourselves. Is this project actually working? This is how many years down the line. Are we going to continue like this? We should weigh the merits and demerits of being together. And in a situation where the demerit outweighs the merit, then we should begin to think of, breaking in a manner would bring peace and progress. Because we cannot continue like this, where we claim we are Nigerians, and we're just at the point where we are supposed to demonstrate that fact that we are Nigerians, we begin to divide ourselves across any lines. We begin to hear people say that this particular land belongs to them. Others should go back to their home or go back to their land. And after that moment, you begin to see the same people coming again to say one Nigeria, one Nigeria, one Nigeria. Those are the issues.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to say thank you so much for being part of the conversation today.
Thank you, Rachel, and it's always a pleasure joining you.
All right. It's been a wonderful time on the show today, the Law of the People and Governance on Spectrum Television. This is where we close the curtains for this week. Catch you again next week, still on Spectrum Television with me, Rachel David White. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. Good evening.